Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing a review on the Type C5 from WitYou, and this is called the WitYou. This is the new one, came out. It didn't come out too long after the Type C4, the WitLong, and I gotta say there are some improvements on this, but as far as it being better or worse, you're going to have to make your own mind up after this video. So not only is this going to be a review, this is going to be a comparison between that and the actual Type C4. Now, the Type C4 has a CrazyBadCuber logo on it, and so I can tell the difference between the two. So as far as the sticker colors go, they are exactly the same shades. There's really nothing different on the outside of this puzzle. Now, the pieces are a little bit different on the 5. You know, I'm not sure if they've improved it or not. I personally still find the same performance on both of these cubes. There's not really much of a difference between them, but I will tell you that if you remember on the Type C4 video how the centerpiece can become snagged like that, and what it does is it locks up your cube once in a while, and I showed that on my Type C4 review and talked about a mod. And you know, I'm not taking credit for any mod, don't think that, but a lot of people have done that mod, and only because it's a pretty obvious mod to do. You know, like I didn't bother doing it because it's just not my main, and I don't know, it's just not my kind of cube. So on here, what they've done is they've improved that, because on the Type C4 the corner pieces are hollow. If you want to see that, just go and check out my review on that. On this one, they've really put the pieces and like made it, you know, a regular piece. They're hollow, but they have sides on them, whereas on this one they don't have sides. It's all broken. You can stick your finger right in there, as you can see. On this one, however, you cannot. There is no way to stick your finger in there, so it's impossible to catch. So that's one improvement that they've done. So now we'll go on to the corner cutting of this cube, and again, it's such a small difference. They didn't really change too much, so I'm going to compare the corner cutting instead of just reviewing it. All right, so on the Type C4, corner cutting from 45, no problem. Type C5, no problem. Listen to that difference in sound. And this is more of a snap, this is more of a clunk. I find that the sound is different on both of these. I'll get to that in a second. So we can go a little bit further on the Type C4. Whoop. So it's just going a little bit past 45, and it's still cutting. On the Type C5, again, the same thing. I find that way of corner cutting is pretty much the same on both cubes. They are tensioned exactly the same. Of course, you know, corner cutting really depends on how you have it tensioned. If I had it tensioned looser, of course it would corner cut more. So, you know, that's the thing about talking about corner cutting. It can be difficult to let you understand how it's corner cutting because you can't feel the tension on this, you know, and a lot of people base their opinions on these kind of review videos on how good a cube can corner cut. But when they get theirs, they say, oh, well, mine pops when I corner cut, or it corner cuts not as much as yours. There's something wrong with my cube. And that's not the case at all. You know, people just see the review and expect that their cube is going to be exactly like this, but it's not. It's all the tension. You know, if you get this cube and it can't corner cut 45 degrees, loosen it up a bit until it can. Now mine can cut, no, it just goes the other way. So it can cut just over 45 degrees. Now, if you wanted to match yours to mine, just watch the video and then tension it until it can do that, right? So don't expect the cube to just perform exactly like the review that you saw it in. Now, reverse corner cutting on this cube is a little weird. It's same with, you know, it doesn't have the problems that the C4 does. On the C4, you know, it can snag on the centerpiece, but it doesn't do it very often. But when it does, it's just, it's kind of frustrating. And that's why I never used it. The reverse corner cutting on this is pretty good. So I can go from the middle, this line here, I can go about 3/4 of the way through the centerpiece, and it can still cut. On the Type WitYou, I can do the same thing. So again, the corner cutting, you know, it's pretty much the same. Oh yeah, there we go. That's one thing I did find about the Type C5 is that sometimes when you're reverse corner cutting, it will, I don't know, these edges will drop down before the corner. Let's see if I can get it to happen here. Let's try a different side. I don't want to spend all day doing it, but there we go. You see that? There. the edge falls down before the corner, and that will result in a lockup. So it, with reverse corner cutting, this one, it catches on the center, and on this one, it just seems like it's gonna fall apart sometimes like that, and it kind of catches in a different way, but it still has the same result. So sure, they've improved the feeling of the reverse corner cutting, but it definitely hasn't really improved the lockup problem. It's kind of created it in a completely different spot. So I talked about how these cubes sound. So now I'm going to give you, I'll do an algorithm with each and you can see it. So this is a Type C4. I'm sure if you have this, you recognize the sound already, right? Now this one has a bit of a louder, more high-pitched sound, I think. I don't know what the difference is between them. Maybe it's because this one, maybe they have different plastics, or maybe it's because the Type C4 has the corners hollowed out, whereas this one doesn't, and it's kind of retaining some of that sound. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's up to you to decide if you like this one better or this one. So, in my opinion, I don't know, these cubes are pretty much the same cube. I don't know, they don't really live up to a Zanchi, in my opinion. I'm sure you all know that, I really prefer the Zanchi, but I'm really trying to not let that, I don't know, kind of alter my opinion on this in first impressions, even though I've had this cube for quite a while now and I've solved it a bunch. I'm just not getting the same averages I do with the Diane cube. This cube is really great though. Like, I will give WitYou props for creating an original, somewhat of an original, I would say, design. Like, I've never had either of these cubes ever pop on me. The anti-popping mechanism is very good. One thing I wanted to do is show you some pictures of the difference between the pieces of this and the Type C4. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, the center pieces have been slightly altered, and I'm not sure why they did that, but the center pieces are altered on the C5 compared to the C4, and I'm not sure if that improves performance or anything like that. I personally don't see it. And here we go with the edge pieces now. The edge pieces have been slightly altered as well. Again, I really don't understand the alteration between the edge pieces. The edge pieces seem to be really fine on the C4, so I didn't really see the reason for revamping the edge piece, unless it was to accommodate the new centerpiece or, the new corner or something, and you just had to do that. And so onto the corner, here you can really see that the, the piece is filled in, whereas the C4 is not filled in at all. Okay, so I don't really know what else to do for a review on this puzzle. I mean, it's basically the same as the C4. I've already covered it. I tried to make this video once already and it was like 3 minutes long because there really wasn't much to talk about, which is why I made it a comparison video. I personally, I enjoy having these cubes as something to warm up on, so when I get to my Zanchi, I'm a lot faster. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on my next video.